Good morning, my name is Rob. I'm a Yorkshireman who lives in Derbyshire. I love cycling and I love disused railways and the abandonment of them, and I like exploring them by bike. Quite blessed here in Derbyshire to have many miles of disused railways. So today I'm going to take you on a trip down one of 3, 4 of those maybe, different sections, starting Chesterfield station, on a 45-mile loop. We're going to take in the Pleasley Pit Trail, which used to feed all the collieries, taking in part of the Midland Railway. We're going to head down towards Teversal, across the Pleasley Pit, where we'll pass what remains of the Great Northern Railway, and then we'll head up the Archeological way towards Creswell, again on some old railway, and from there we'll come back through Creswell to the Clowne branch line, down through Clowne to Poolsbrook Country Park, pick up the Trans Pennine Trail, where I'll show you the new bridge they've just put in, that bridge the gap where the old GCR used to be, and from there we'll head back towards the train station on the Trans Pennine Trail. So we're here at Chesterfield station. I've done 5 miles. This will be a starting point. There's a car park just there, which is a pay car park, or just round the corner back that way there's a slightly cheaper all day car park. Our route is going to be heading that way.
Okay, so we're now on a nice bit of gravel on this nature reserve just outside Chesterfield. We've got the A61 over to our right, and we're going to meander parallel to it for a bit before we head away and pick up the Pleasley Pit Trail at Grassmore.
Okay, so we're just coming up towards the Pleasley Pit Trail at Grassmore. Thank you. So, like I said, Pleasley Pit Trail on this section down to Teversal is what I would call lumpy. A couple of little kickers where one of the Loco plantation where there used to be a beautiful viaduct for the railway, that's now gone. So as a cyclist it means you have to go downhill and back up the other side. But it's not super long and it's not the steepest climb that you could find in Derbyshire. So I think you'll be okay as long as you've got some good gears. Okay, so this in front of us here is the site of the colliery that was once here. As you can see, now it's all been reclaimed into a nice little country park. Dog walkers, cyclists, walkers. And it takes you to the start of the Pleasley Pit Trail at this end, which you'll see in a moment. There's a dog walker and it looks a bit muddy this time of year. So here we go, look, first railway bridge. We're straight on the Pleasley Pit Trail. What a beauty. There's a road above us, Here we go, look. National Cycle Network 67, 5 Pits Trail. Slight uphill start, but again, not too steep. You got the right gear and you'll be fine. If you're on an e-bike, then just use the motor. So for those wondering, incline at the minute, about 3.5%. Just pick a little just ahead. It's nothing too arduous. Six and a half, just touching on 7% there, and then we level off. Okay, nearly at the summit, this little ramp, and then we approach what was once a railway junction. The line came up here from the pit, and there was another line coming in from our right at about 5 o'clock position. And from there, we have two options. We can go left to Homewood, which we're not going to do today, or we can continue to the right, down towards Tibshelf, and onto the Teversal Trail, which is the route we're going to do today. So just ahead you can see the fork, and to our right, the line came in from Chesterfield, and then around this corner we have a left and a right. Left to Homewood, right to Tibshelf, and that's where we're going today. We're just here on the left behind these trees. There's a pond. Me and my youngest often argue. He calls it a lake, I call it a pond. And I think as someone that used to fish, that's definitely more pond than lake. But it's a great little site. Always busy with fishermen. And as you can see, the railway line opens up in front of us. Absolutely beautiful. These autumn leaves falling. Absolutely stunning. One of my favourite trails to ride. Okay, so the old line originally, I believe, went straight on here. Now that's now a reclaimed farmer's field. We just have a very small diversion around, nothing major. Just loops round and picks the old trail back up just on the other side of the farmer's field. Now remember I said this was a rolling trail. So we've got a few ups and downs to come, but again, they're nothing arduous. You ride often, you certainly have the fitness to be able to ride these. So just at the end of this section, where you'll see the gate appearing on the right, we hang a left and we're back on the old track bed. Or thereabouts. So we have another junction here. Left goes over to Homewood and back forms a loop to the line I showed you back at the junction, and we're going to carry on. A number of benches on the route, so if you did feel like having a breather, plenty of opportunities for that. Always nice to bring a bit of food, quite a few picnic tables, number of cafes and shops in places, but very close to the route. Well, it's absolutely stunning today, and this slight end of October mist with the leaves on the ground, just lovely, absolutely lovely. Calm, all I can hear my own breathing and my bike. Another little offshoot to Homewood there, and that'll be for another video. From there you can get back over, well, wherever you want. You can come back on the loop, you can head over to Hardwick Hall, you can pick up the trail further down by stitching it together with a bit of road, or there is a trail at the far end which brings you back towards Pleasley Pit, and I'll show you that offshoot a little bit later. Another little ramp here, nothing arduous, nice and steady. I imagine in the railway days it was probably a little bit more levelled out, or the trains would have had to take a big run up at this. And there you go, we're up here. Not too bad. 10% at its severest. Look at that. Stunning. Would have been absolutely fantastic coming down here on a train. Still see just to your left in the gutter there the old drainage channel. And the fact there is cambered ever so slightly to the right to allow drain off into the woods. Keep the tracks dry, wood free. Now look at that. Stunning. Just stunning. And all around to your left and right. It's greeted with lovely panoramas looking over the hills towards Ashover and out towards Derbyshire Dales. And to the left, fields, trees, farmhouses, stunning. So now we're just coming down towards Loco Plantation, where a huge viaduct once stood. Morning! Long since demolished. There's pictures around if I can find one. Post it up. That's these doggies. Thank you very much. Cheers. So the train track would have carried on. It's a great height above the road. Just careful of that left bend, scrub off any speed you've got. And get ready to climb. Gosh, you're going to drop down to the road here. This is a first gear climb, even for me. With a 42 tooth on the back and a 38 on the front. Across the road and up we go. Okay, so just coming up to the Teversal Trail now. Teversal Pond's only a mile or so from Teversal itself to here. So you're going to be careful here, we're going left. Careful at the bottom, just get a bit slippy and look out for traffic. There we go. Now we're on the Teversal Trail. So in a bit we're going to pass under the M1, not far from Teversal Services and the A38 Derby Mansfield junction of the M1. And this is probably one of my favourite sections of the 5 pits. Just lovely, nice, deep cutting, quiet, very, very little external noise, which is nice. And if you keep your eyes peeled, occasionally you can see a little bit of ballast still down in places. You still see the drainage channels, some lovely bridges. Just a generally lovely trail. Bridge ahead, really, really high. Not sure if you'll be able to see it on the camera. Just ahead. There, lovely old red bricked 4 arch, I think. 4 arch bridge. Yep. 4 arch bridge. Got the M1 ahead there. And if you keep your eyes peeled on this section, you might see the odd bit of old railway infrastructure. I've just seen what I think was a mile marker back there. Old concrete post set back. But look at that, look how far that's stretching ahead. Yeah, typical railway, straight as much as possible. It makes for absolutely fantastic riding. And just ahead on the left, you can see it, 20-30 metres ahead of me, is an old signal post. Intact, with ladder and signal. And opposite, to the right, is the Nottinghamshire-Derbyshire border. So, that there denotes the border between the two. And there's the post telling you the same, and on the other side it says Derbyshire as you're entering Derbyshire. So there's a little nugget of information for you that you might not have known. Okay, so this is where the Silverhill Trail meets Skegby and Teversal. And we're going to go this way, to Pleasley. If you were to take the left turn just up here, it would take to where Silverhill Colliery used to be. And there's a path all the way around, the pond, you see some concrete pads where stuff used to be, and right at the highest point of what was the slag heap, spoil heap these days as they call them, was, or is, a monument to the miners, and it's also the highest point in Nottinghamshire. And on a good clear day, the vista is amazing. You can see over towards Sheffield, Lady Canning's Wood. You can see over, I believe, Cotton Power Station. There is a little map placard up there. So there's a left turn. And that placard shows you all the points you can see in the 360 panorama. It really is worth the extra 4-mile round trip. Not far, but it's uphill. It's quite steep to get up to the highest point, 12% I think. but not particularly long. So definitely worth the effort. Okay, so coming up to another bridge here. Just look how in this cutting the trees just envelop you and create an almost tunnel-like channel. It's absolutely beautiful. It really is. And it's probably why it's one of my favourite trails around. It's stunning. Okay, so on the last couple of mile running now to Pleasley Pit. And again, another cut-in. Just lovely, I mean, big cut-in. Look how high the sides are. Just took some clearing. And you can see how the surface has changed there ever so slightly. We just crossed the road half a mile back. You'll know it because you'll come to, I believe it's called Mini Alpe d'Huez on Strava. And it's just a couple of little S-bends, not steep at all. A couple of S-bends up and a little S-bends down after the road. And then you're onto this lovely stretch. If you go down there and take a left, and there and left, you've got the Rowthorne Trail, which is only short, but that brings you out at the top end of Hardwick Hall. And from there, you can go through Glapwell and drop down the main road, turn right at the Costa Coffee, I believe it is, or Starbucks, one of the two. And you can pick up the trail, the Stockley Trail, which takes you back over towards Poolsbrook Country Park if you wanted to shorten the route. Today we're going to go the long way around up the Archeological way, and from there pick up the Clowne branch line, which also comes into Poolsbrook Country Park. So you've got a few choices. We're just about to come up to what was Pleasley Pit, and you'll be able to see the headstock and the cafe in less than a mile. So now we're at Pleasley Pit Country Park. What was once a very busy, bustling colliery. Pleasley Pit Cafe, headstock, and then just between the chimney, the building there, between the headstock and the chimney, you can see that's where the pumping engine is. Huge, impressive piece of kit. Really, really good. Definitely worth a visit when it's open, as is the cafe where I'm going to go now. Right, so we've just left Pleasley Pit Cafe a couple of minutes ago. Now on Church Lane, just down the road. And we're going to go over this little spiral bridge. Suitable for horses, but fine for cyclists and pedestrians. And this takes you over the main Mansfield Chesterfield Road. So our left takes you back to the M1, junction 29. And right is Mansfield. So on a wet day, just be careful, it's a little bit slippy on there. And we're going to be coming the back way now to Pleasley Vale, which is a lovely little place. Once was a mill, and the buildings still exist, and the mill ponds, but now full of businesses, industrial units, that type of thing. And it's a very pleasant place to ride. We're not going all the way through that today because that takes you out to a bit more road, but it takes you out towards Clipston and onto Sherwood Pines eventually. Today we're going to head up towards Shirebrook on the Archeological way. So the actual route of the Archeological way is just over to our right at the minute, just up in the woods, but it's a bit muddy today, and there was a railway line up there at one point, and there's a couple of old buildings where I believe possibly water containers or storage containers. They're a bit derelict, I wouldn't trust standing on the floor of them, but there's a little bit up there. I mean, it's mad to think that the stuff that came from the mills, serviced or was delivered or received by that railway, given the height difference and how high above the actual mill it is, the track, or the track bed, is pretty much parallel or just above the top of the roofs, and these are tall buildings, so yeah, pretty impressive really. Oh, really wish I brought slightly thicker gloves today. It was forecast to be a more pleasant day than it actually is, and albeit it's dry, relatively wind free, it's not the warmest day. So that's Pleasley Vale. Just down there, you just see the barriers, and you can get down to the left and down through there. Very, very nice. Way, however, we're going to go this way, the Archeological way. Just ahead and from our left was the Great North Railway, which came off the Midland and down into Mansfield, sorry, Shirebrook. Now just up ahead, you see it just around this corner, is the bridge abutment for that line. There it is, and that is all that's left of it, which is a shame, but that's what happened. So there is the abutment, and the line went off to the right there and over to the left that way, and sadly that's all that's left. but still interesting to see. Okay, so still on the archaeological way, so I'll show you a bit of it. Okay, so back on our line now, and we're not far from Creswell Model Village, and the Clowne branch line where we can get on it at Creswell, which has only happened in the last 2-3 years, I think. At one point you could get to the end from Poolsbrook and it just abruptly stopped, so you'd have to kind of climb down some steps to get there. Well, that's no longer the case, and there's a lovely path in there which was gravel initially. However, it did cause quite a few incidents, as the surface was very loose gravel and it just wasn't suitable for riding on. But fair play to the council, they did remedy it, and now it's lovely. So, still on our old track bed, and this is going to bring us in to the top end of Creswell Model Village. So, we're now here at Creswell Model Village. I mean, it's a beautiful little place, I can show you that. So as you can see, it's a giant oval. Lovely, there's houses around the back. So there's a row of houses all the way around, like an outer ring, and then there's an inner ring. A couple of parks for the kids, nice green area. Okay, so we're now at Creswell station, and you look ahead, there's the old signal box, no longer in use. Elmton and Creswell, it's a shame. It would be nice if it could be restored, because every year it gets worse. It's all locked off, but it would be lovely if that could be restored. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it'd be a shame to see it disappear. So, but where the track is there, we are now on that bit of gravel that I told you was a bit dodgy when they first put it down. Modified it to hard pack. So our original line that we're going to jump on, the Clowne branch line, which is now the greenway, would have come just over from my right shoulder now onto track bed from the main line, and it is a lovely, lovely little trail. Beautiful. Quite a lot of architecture still in place, quite a lot of information boards to give you the information you may need. It's just lovely, never too busy, close to a few populated areas, Creswell, Clowne, Bulborough, although I don't think you get on at Bulborough, so Clowne, and a few other little villages. So I just tend to get busy on a weekend, but as long as you're courteous, everyone's courteous back. So we've now got a very, very gradual incline. My computer's telling me it's 0. My legs are telling me otherwise. There we go, 1.5 degrees. It's not steep, just a drag. But once you reach Clowne, all downhill to Poolsbrook. But if you're coming from Poolsbrook to Clowne, it's all uphill. And albeit it's only 2-3%, you feel it after a couple of miles. I think the sign at the bottom far end says 1.5 miles. I don't think it is. I think it's probably 2.5. Feels like about 6 when you're grinding up it. Okay, so we're currently at Clowne and Bulborough station on the old greenway. Beautiful. Now this was used for passengers and freight, and the old station building unfortunately is gone there, but the load of volunteers have done a great job of rebuilding a piece of the platform, putting up an info board, and we're about at the summit of this line. It's quite an incline from either end up to sort of clowne station, but once you've crested, get a nice downhill run to Poolsbrook, and we'll cross Seymour Junction, which at one time had, I believe, 21 tracks down, and it's a huge place. If you ever get a chance to walk around it, full of old sleepers, wooden, concrete. There's a tunnel. You can see where posts were. The old signal box, which was vast, fortunately got burnt down, so that was demolished. But yeah, it's a huge complex. So we're on the downhill now, 1.5 miles to Bulbury, and then on to Seymour Junction, around the old colliery site, Poolsbrook, on to Poolsbrook Country Park, where there's a nice cafe. Doesn't open for hours and hours in the week. In winter, once the kids go back to school, tend to have reduced hours, but they are open on weekends. There's a park run there on a Saturday if you fancy it, although my wife says it's pretty boring because it's 2 loops of the lake, but it's different to running around the park, I suppose. And now I've got a nice bit of speed up on this downhill, only a 2%. It's enough just to make you feel a little bit better than the drag coming up. And all around you, beautiful scenery on what was the coal fields. Look at that. Look how inviting that is. Just beautiful. So quiet because it's a weekday. No one around. Past couple of dog walkers. That's about it. And just look how inviting that is. Got the M1 ahead. So that's the second time today we've passed under the M1. This is between the Bulbury Junction and Chesterfield, I believe. And you can see this one's been cleaned, de-graffitied by painting over it, so I'm sure at some point people will be back out to decorate it. So we're now approaching Seymour Junction. We're there in a few miles. You can see some of the large buildings on the horizon, which were all collieries, now industrial estates, large factory units, and we'll be passing what was another branch line which went off to a colliery whose name evades me. Apologies. but it went off to a large sidings where the coal used to be brought down by tram over the road. I believe in later years it was a conveyor. So the bridge ahead, I believe, is the back way up towards Bolsover. Yes, it is. And just to the left, don't think you'll see on camera, is our other branch, which went off to the colliery. So this is Seymour Junction. You just see on the left there, about there, large pile of sleepers that go all the way down. Ballast is still present, and you can actually walk all the way down, follow the old track bed round back towards the Big Bear distribution centre we've just come past. And if we turn this way and you follow the track that way, you end up at the Chesterfield Canal at Staveley, where we're going in a bit. The old railway used to cross the canal. You can still see the abutments, and they just put a new bridge in which replaces the old GCR bridge, which was knocked down in 2000, I believe, maybe a bit before. So we're going to go and see that later as well. So there you go, there's a new bridge, went in Monday I believe. The canal's going to go underneath it, and the bridge should be open by the end of this month, October. So yeah, that'd be fantastic. That replaces what was the old GCR bridge that was knocked down sometime 30 years ago I believe. So yeah, it's been great. There's been a lot of money invested, a lot of work. Yeah, fantastic. That'll be a lovely bridge to use in the future. And so if you go over it that way, you're going back to Poolsbrook, you just spin you around. This way is the Trans Pennine Trail to Renishaw and Rother Valley, which we're not doing today. So we're going to head back now down the side of the canal, and we're now heading back towards Chesterfield. So this is the this is the Trans Pennine Trail. Just ahead and to the left you see a lot of ballast. Well, that is the old railway that started at Seymour Junction that I pointed out, and that goes on to Barrow Hill. Now overgrown, full of ballast, and still owned by Network Rail, so technically you're not supposed to go down there. Hello. However, I can tell you it is walkable, however it's very overgrown. There's a lot of architecture still down, posts, some signs, bridges, ballast all the way to Barrow Hill, which obviously you can't get to. Some old buildings at the end in a yard, not 100% sure what they were for, not been able to find any info out on those. And then here, where the canal basin is a new hub going up with moorings for barges or boats, canal boats. Yeah, looks like it's going to be fantastic. And that's gone up really quick, because I think 3 months ago was when they broke ground on it. So yeah, a lot of work, a lot of money going here. It's going to be fantastic when it's done. Nice place. I like to think there'll be a cafe in there. And now let's try to pick up the canal on the run into Chesterfield, 5-6 miles maybe. Quite a busy stretch, because again you've got a lot of residential areas off to the left and right of the canal, but it is lovely, and like I said, part of the Trans Pennine Trail, but this is a lovely stretch cutting through suburbia. And with a headwind today, as you can probably hear on the mic, and from the water you can see it's been pushed towards me, but it's warmed up, the sun's out, and as they say, there's no bad day on a bike. So this stretch here was an old railway. I didn't get a chance to show you, but at Hollingwood Hub there was a couple of bridge abutments There's a station above where you still see part of the platform and the subway that used to go up to it. You see the top of that, it's all infilled. And that line came down here and on into Chesterfield, and the GCR station that's now on the A61 dual carriageway not far from the station. In fact, the tunnel still there, buried behind a big vast concrete wall on the A61 on the bend, where there's a large footbridge going over the top. So if you pass in, you'll know a large vast concrete wall. You'll see it under the footbridge, and the tunnel's behind there. Still accessible if you can scale walls, but not advised because there's CCTV cameras. There's a good video on YouTube of it with, I forget the guy's name, I think it's Dave, where he goes in and explores it. Quite wet, as you'd imagine, but interesting to see. One fact for you, the tunnel portal over the top of it was a big stone with the date 1892 inscripted on it. That's now sat at Hollingwood Hub at the side of the canal built into the wall. So if you're ever wondering, when you sat having a brew at Hollingwood Hub, where did that come from? That came from the old GCR line portal, and northern portal I believe, in Chesterfield. So there you go. So very shortly we'll be deviating from this line, and you got the last few miles into the train station at Chesterfield. So I'm going to leave you here. You follow that couple of miles, Trans Pennine Trail, and you end up back at Chesterfield station. Can't go wrong. Thank you very much, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Right, so first video done. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you perhaps learnt a little bit about the disused railways we have around here. Maybe it's piqued your interest to investigate more. Maybe you know more than I do. I'm no expert. I just have an interest in it. Maybe it's piqued your interest to just perhaps and go and ride some of the sections. Perhaps you live close by, didn't really know that much about them, or perhaps you want to walk them. Plenty of places you can park along any of that route, and you can just take in small sections if you wish, or you can park anywhere on it, ride the whole loop. You could get the train to Chesterfield, ride the loop. You get the train to Chesterfield and ride some of the route. It really is awesome riding, and the world's your oyster. So hopefully you enjoyed it, you got something out of it, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.